Hey guys, today I wanted to show you how to make a really fantastic appetizer idea for a summer cocktail party. It's my chilled gazpacho shooters with a spicy shrimp tail. They look so pretty and summery, and they are so delicious too. And the best part is, this is like the simplest recipe ever. It is perfect for any of you beginners out there, and you can make the whole thing the day before and just assemble and serve the day of your party. Let me show you how to make it. So the first thing we're gonna do is prep our shrimp. Now, when it comes to buying shrimp, you have two choices. You can either save time or save money. Because if you buy them already shelled and cleaned, they're gonna probably be double the price per pound. If you don't mind putting a little elbow grease into it and shelling and cleaning your shrimp, it's gonna be half price. So the choice is yours. But if you are gonna clean and shell them, this is how you would do it. I'm working with jumbo shrimp. That's the best size, I think, for a shooter glass. And you're just gonna peel off the shell, but leave the tail intact. Not only does that make for a more succulent shrimp when you roast it because it retains the moisture, but it also looks prettier too when you put it on the glass. And it gives your guests something to hold when they're actually nibbling on the shrimp. Then to clean the shrimp, you wanna make sure that you devein them. So I like to begin with the inside of the shrimp, kind of where it curls. And with a paring knife, you can go ahead and just score that, and then you'll see the vein right there. You wanna remove that. And then I like to flip the shrimp over on the outside and do the same thing, just to make sure I got all the vein. And also I like to score the backs because when the shrimp is roasted, that will actually allow it to curl up, which I think looks a lot prettier on the glass as well. Then once your shrimp are shelled and deveined, go ahead and give them a rinse because you just want to make sure you rinse everything off as well. Then you can pat the shrimp dry because we're going to roast them in the oven, and we want to make sure that all of our flavor stays on our shrimp. And if they're too wet when they go in the oven, they're not going to really roast very well. They're going to sort of steam up, and that will dilute our sauce. So you do want to make sure that you take a paper towel and just get rid of any of that excess moisture. Then you can place them in a bowl, and then we're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil, 1 garlic clove that has been minced, some salt and pepper to taste, and some red chili flakes. So for this appetizer, I really like the shrimp to be spicy and the gazpacho to be kind of like the cooling effect. So I actually don't put any hot sauce in my gazpacho, but you could flip that around. You could have the shrimp be the cooling part and have the gazpacho be the spicy part and add some hot sauce there. So I'll tell you how to do that once we get to the soup. Then you're gonna roast your shrimp at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. You just wanna make sure that the shrimp is nice and pink and that it is opaque. So you don't wanna see any kind of gray, translucent part of that shrimp. It should all be cooked through. Then once the shrimp are done, you can remove them from the oven and allow them to cool. Then you can place them in a bowl, cover and refrigerate until it comes time to serve. Now for our gazpacho soup. I love this recipe in the summertime because there is nothing easier than a gazpacho soup. It's basically like a big vegetable smoothie. You're just gonna put everything in a blender and blend it up. So we're first gonna begin with some yellow tomatoes. So we're looking for about 2 cups of yellow tomatoes. And then you also wanna add 1 cup of a yellow bell pepper, 1 cup of a white onion. You could use the yellow onion. I like the white onion for gazpacho because I think the flavor is a little bit mellower, but if you like a bold flavor, you could go ahead and use a yellow one. A cup of an English cucumber. I like the English cucumbers because they don't wax the exterior of them and the skins are really thin. So much so, I actually just throw them in the blender, skins and all. But if you wanted to peel them, you could. And then 2 garlic cloves that you've just smashed. Again, we're gonna blend this all up so it doesn't need to be perfect. And then we're also gonna add 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And then you can add a little salt and pepper to taste. Then at this point, if you wanted your gazpacho to be spicy, this is where I would add 2 to 3 dashes of hot sauce. Then you can whirl that whole thing up until it's nice and smooth. Now, normally I like a chunky gazpacho, but for this recipe, because we are going to be serving it in shot glasses, it's important that your guests have the ability to drink it. So it might be a little bit easier if it's not so chunky. So I do puree it so that it's nice and smooth. Now, another thing to know with this recipe is depending upon how ripe and juicy your tomatoes are, you may need to add some additional liquid to this if you find that it's not pourable. So what I would do is just add some vegetable broth in like 1 to 2 tablespoon increments, just to make sure that it's nice and thin enough to pour into a shot glass. Now at this stage, you can just take the blender cup and place it in your refrigerator overnight because gazpacho is really great when it's very well chilled, and that will also allow the flavors to marry. I keep it in the blender because moments before serving, I do like to just give it a quick pulse just to kind of refreshen the emulsion in case the olive oil or vinegar had a chance to kind of separate or settled. It's just a good thing to do. At this stage, you want to add a tablespoon of freshly minced parsley to your shrimp, and you can give that a toss. Then right before serving, you can take the soup and pour it into a Pyrex pitcher, which might make it a little bit easier to fill the shot glasses. Now I'm working with 2-ounce shot glasses, and I really like the design of these because they're so tall. They're in my Amazon shop if you want to know where to get them. But you want to go ahead and fill the shot glasses only 3/4 of the way full, because when you place the shrimp on the rim of the glass, it will force the soup to kind of rise up. And in the past, I filled them all the way and then put the shrimp on and it went everywhere. So just so you don't have that same problem, just go 3/4 of the way full. And then you can encourage your guests to sip on the gazpacho and nibble on the shrimp in between. And it's really such a great summery flavor combination. Now this appetizer pairs really well with my tarte au soleil, which is a combination of pesto and puff pastry. It's a lot easier to make than you might think, and if you want to learn how to make it, you can click that annotation and I'll see you over there.